UFC 316 just wrapped up. I'm going to be recapping the entire fight card, starting with the first fight of the night. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and let's get this fight card review underway. Starting the night off, we have Markel Medeiros taking on Mark Choinski. Perfect prediction here. Markel Medeiros showed that there are indeed levels to this fight game, and absolutely stunned on Mark Choinski. Was chopping that leg apart. Definitely hurt him early. I believe the first round, he started to stumble from the leg kicks. Markel won at 30-27, was picking him apart from the striking. Even showed some, grappling defense. Was able to fend off, I believe it was a rear naked choke attempt from Mark. Mark is a dog, though. He took some big shots. Was, like I said, that leg was getting chewed apart. Fell to the mat a few times from getting, his leg chewed up. He's definitely got some heart, though. If he can, learn some striking defense and put together his combinations a little better, he should be able to, have some successful fights in the UFC. But Markel Medeiros just showed that he is a much better fighter. Definitely gave me a little bit more confidence in, the original fight for Markel, which was the Balaji Oki fight last week. It was pretty interesting to see that he bounced back, from a stomach sickness, whatever sickness exactly it was, and, was able to put this performance on. He looked like he didn't, he wasn't phased at all by anything. Very impressive performance from Markel Medeiros. Perfect prediction. Like I said, Mark definitely has heart, though. But Medeiros was just too slick for him in the striking. Was able to, get out of some compromising situations late in the fight as well. Was able to get back to his feet and win the fight. Very impressed with Markel Medeiros, and did exactly what I believed he was going to do. Next up, we had Quillian Selkid taking on Yanao Ashmouz. Yanao is tough, bro, and he definitely, clipped Quillian a few times in this fight. Quillian showed that he does, that he can fight at all three levels. The clinch, the grappling work, it was all there. The striking was there. Definitely gassed out late in the fight, though, which is, I wasn't concerned with his gas tank, but I did not think he was going to finish Ashmouz, and he didn't. Another perfect prediction here. I did believe Quillian would get it done by unanimous decision, which he did. Ashmouz, he's pretty tough, man. 8-2. Both of these guys, came into the fight 8-1, but Ashmouz falls to 8-2. This was just a tricky stylistic fight for him because Quillian is so much larger than him, even though they're at the same, weight class. Quillian being at 6 feet, I think he had like a 6-inch reach advantage. Yanao was swinging for the fences a lot of the fight. Was able to touch him a few times, but again, Quillian was able to stick that jab on him. He was timing the takedowns excellently. And, he just showed that he could fight better at all three levels. Was throwing that knee up the middle like I said he would, similar to the Chris Duncan fight. I was taking a lot of these shots, though. But, yeah, Quillian walks away, unanimous decision. Got a 30-27 on one of the scorecards. The third round, definitely, Yanao had more success, was landing the bigger shots. Quillian did look, really shaky, definitely looked tired. So I understand why the 29-28s came out. But overall, Quillian did what he needed to do and won the fight ultimately. So that's all that needed to, happen there. Next up, we had the Korean superstar Ju Sang-yu do exactly what he was, put in this position to do. Not even 30 seconds into the fight, knocks out Jekasaragi. Check, I believe it was like a left hook, check left hook. It was perfect timing. He timed the blitz like I said he was going to. It looked, eerily similar to the Aldo McGregor knockout. Literally the exact same, thing happened. Face first. Aldo throws the long jab or two, whatever it was. Connor and Ju Sang step out of the frame and just catch him with the check hook. It was nasty, bro. Korea's got another superstar on their hands. Ju Sang-yu definitely, made his debut he made his debut count, and very impressive finish from this young man. Definitely want to see him moving forward. He reminds me of it's whack to say it, but he definitely reminds me of Connor, Mauricio Rufy's thrown in there. These guys kind of are like really similar. The timing on Ju Sang-yu was immaculate, and didn't need to see, 2 minutes of Jekaseri. He just needed 2 exchanges, and that's all she wrote. Very impressive performance from Jusang. Next up, we had Ariane De Silva taking on Wang Tong. Ariane, as you guys know, came in like 6-7 pounds overweight, got fined 25% of her purse, rightfully so. Maybe we need to, add some more stipulations to, fighters missing weight by so much. She's almost 10 pounds over the weight, which is insane. But Wang Tong, did what she needed to do. There was definitely some moments. Ariane definitely had some moments of success touching Wang Tong up in the pocket. Watching this fight, live, I was saying if Wang was going to fight a brawler in the pocket, I think she would struggle. I think, someone like I know Cachoeira is not at flyweight anymore, but if Cachoeira was at flyweight, her chin was a little better at flyweight, I think she would give Wang Tong some issues. Wang, she throws her strikes from outside better than she does in the pocket, which is where Ariane was having, a lot of the success. The knees in the middle definitely was touching that body with the knee. I saw Wang, definitely trying to avoid that a lot. Grappling wasn't really there for Ariane. Wang was, very defensively sound for a majority of the fight. She was attacking that lead leg of Ariane, forced her to switch stances multiple times, buckled her a few times with the leg kicks. Wang Tong did exactly what she needed to do. Ariane De Silva, I don't know what's next for her, but for Wang, it's tough trying to match make these. Well, she's ranked now, because Ariane was ranked, I believe, 12. So she's ranked now. I don't know. How fast are they trying to get Wang to the title? That's really what it's looking like, because are they trying to make the Valentina fight? I don't think so. I don't know if Valentina gets past Natalia Silva, which I hope is next in line for the title shot. Wang Tong being ranked 12, or maybe she's like 14th. You never know. But I'll assume 12. I might need to go to the division. I can't think of, the top 10 women's flyweight. I know she called out Jessica Andrade, so I think that's a tough fight for her. Jessica could definitely be hit, but I don't think Wang has the speed of like a Natalia Silva, where she's able to, stick and move from the outside, move laterally super quick. She doesn't really show that. So Jessica might be able to, catch her a few times. I'm not saying Jessica wins that fight, but I like the call out. I think she's challenging herself with that call out as well. I don't think she's, picking on Jessica just because she saw her get finished last time. I think Jessica versus Wang Tong is definitely an interesting fight, and Jessica would definitely be live. She'll probably be a huge underdog, seeing that she just got finished, but I don't know. Jessica might be worth a little sprinkle in there. The heavy hands in the pocket definitely give Wang Tong some issues. I know the reach advantage will probably be a little pronounced because Jessica's so small, but book it. Let's see that fight. I don't even need to go to the rankings. That's the fight that she called. Give it to her. Let's do it. Next up, we had Chaos Williams versus Andreas Gustafsson. Gustafsson just absolutely melted Chaos Williams the entire fight. From the beginning bell, he just sprinted across the octagon and was in his face the entire night. Chaos was not able to get anything off. I know it says, he threw 95 strikes, but really majority of those were in the pocket. Chaos was, I don't know where this narrative came from that Chaos Williams was a elite counter striker. He's got a great jab, this and that, but he does not. He never had that, in my opinion. And Andreas just smothered him, put him up against the cage. It was kind of a boring fight, but I knew this was, what Andreas was going to do. Put him up against the cage, get real dirty, take him down, make it even dirtier there. He shot 14 takedown attempts, got him down 8 times, had some solid control time, 9 minutes in a clinch. Andreas did exactly what he was going to do. And I liked him as underdog. I played him as underdog too. Won some money there. Chaos Williams just wasn't really good to me. I know he's probably in like the top 30, but Gustafsson, I thought Gustafsson would be able to finish him. He definitely rocked him in this fight. But yeah, he did the dirty damage. Was hurting him in the pocket, hurting him in the clinch, and he got Chaos Williams out of there. Cut him open too. Andreas, I would like to see like I think Carlos Leal is booked, but if not, Leal versus Gustafson. Ooh, ooh, that's a tough fight. I think Leal probably wins, but damn, the PED battle. I want to see that. Carlos Leal versus Andreas Gustafson. Book it. Next up, the very interesting heavyweight matchup: Sergey Spivak versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. Sergey Spivak looked very impressive on the feet early on. I gotta say, his striking was top tier. He looked huge in that octagon too. He looked like he was like 6'7", and he's catching Waldo early. Put him on wobbly legs early, throwing some head kicks. I was very impressed with Sergey's striking early. But Waldo Cortez, he doesn't give up on himself. He is a bit of a showboat or a showman, whatever you want to say. But he was fighting those takedowns throughout the entire fight. I think he got taken down once. Okay, twice, maybe. But he only got 2 minutes of control time. Waldo was up on his feet quick. The first takedown, he did, I think he was fighting for a submission, but Waldo got back to his feet. The second one came late in the third round. And a lot of people were saying that Sergey, banked the third round off that takedown, but Waldo got up within 15 seconds. So Waldo, landed the more peppering shots, wasn't really landing, much power. Sergey definitely had the power on his side, but Waldo just stayed active. You could see he outlanded him 111 to 53. He just stayed active the entire fight. Yeah, the shots weren't big, but he was putting more out there. He was definitely stabbing the body pretty well too. The second round, Sergey definitely looked a lot flatter than he did in the first round. Third round, he still looked pretty flat. He was throwing really big shots, but Waldo was able to, slip and move and put, a quick little combination on him and stay active. Definitely like the decision here. 29-28 would have been my scorecard. I would have gave round 2 and round 3 to Waldo. Round 1 definitely goes to Sergey. Did look like he had Waldo hurt in that first round, but I'm not mad with the decision at all. I liked Waldo as an underdog. As you guys can see, I played him as well, so very, very happy with this decision here. Not even being biased, I really do think Waldo Cortez won, and now he's ranked top 10 in the heavyweight division. So we'll see what's next for Waldo Cortez Acosta. Very impressed with his takedown defense in this fight, because this was a really big matchup for him. This is probably the best wrestler that he's ever seen, and he did pretty well. So 14-1, heavyweight division's got another contender. We'll see what's next for Waldo Salsa Boy Cortez Acosta. Next up, Azamat Murzakanov, Brandon Ribeiro made quick work of Brandon Ribeiro. Touched him up, left hook. Brandon was on wobbly legs, finished him with some ground and pound. I think they were trying to say that Brandon verbally tapped. I don't know if, I think on the rerun we couldn't really hear it. But Azamat, bro, I told you guys, he's pretty quick for his size. Doesn't look like he's a quick heavyweight. I know the odds were what they were, but there was a lot of people, saying that Brandon probably gets him because he's such a larger light heavyweight. But Azamat was too fast for him. He's 15-0. His nickname is the Professional, and he handled Brandon like a professional. Very impressed with the finish here. I thought it would be in the second round. I thought it might take a round for Azamat to, figure out the range, just because this is the most significant range disadvantage that he's been at recently. I know in the weigh-in show we went over, the Dustin Jacoby fight, I'm having a brain fart. What's his name? Alonzo Minifield fight, where the range wasn't as pronounced, but it was like 75 to whatever Azamat has. But 81 inches was a lot to overcome, but he didn't even need a full round. Needed a round and a half, or a little over a round and a half, to take care of Brandon Ribeiro. Knocked him out, violent fashion, and he's calling for a main event next. I think he deserves at least a fight night main event. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they rebooked the Johnny Walker fight, but I think he might be looking past Johnny Walker. I mean, Brandon wasn't ranked, so maybe they still do the Johnny Walker Azamat fight night main event, but I think it ends in the same fashion. Johnny Walker, you could flick him, you could literally flick him and he'll fall over. So Osmont Mirzakhanov, very impressed with you, sir. The professional remains undefeated. And light heavyweight, he's coming. Next up to the prelim finale, Joshua Van, Bruno Silva. Joshua Van looked miles and miles ahead of Bruno Silva. The boxing was A1, bro. Bruno Silva, he did land some solid leg kicks, some damn, I can't speak, some kicks from distance. But once they entered that, that yellow to red zone, Joshua Van was touching them up, was stinging them throughout the entire night, dropped them 3 times. The final time he knocked him out or knocked him down, it was violent. Yeah, Joshua Van's hands are elite, bro. I've been a fan of him since he made his debut, and this just made me, even more of a fan of the Van. You know what I'm saying? Joshua Van, Malcolm Wellmaker, Andre Lima. Those are like my top 3 flyweight, bantamweight contenders that are surging up pretty soon. Lima's a flyweight. He's pretty tough too. I think if he can string together another finish, because he just submitted Daniel Bareth, we'll be hearing his name a lot more too. But Joshua Van, he's so active. That's why his name is, out like it is. But I really do like Joshua Van. Malcolm Wellmaker, he just got his fight signed for next week's Atlanta card. Damn near a hometown fight for him for fighting Chris Matino. Very excited to see that. I will be in the building for that too. So yeah, these these lower weight classes are definitely getting really interesting. Joshua Van made me, a fan twice over. Bruno Silva, I don't know what's next for him, but for Joshua Van, I would like to see him fight the winner of Urseg versus Alex Perez. I think that's what they should do. And then after that, if he wins that, you could give him a title shot, or you could give him, a title eliminator. But Joshua Van is definitely, making his rounds, making his name known. And I think the flyweights need to be aware, because finishing Bruno Silva better than Manel Kape did is very impressive. And I know Manel is fighting Royval at International Fight Week, but I don't think he's really in the UFC's favor. So if he loses, he could possibly end up fighting Joshua Van. And Joshua Van versus Manel Kape that's a damn good fight. That could be a main event on a fight night. You know what I'm saying? Really like Joshua Van. Moving on to the main card, guys. If you haven't already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We got half of the lock of the week. Kevin Holland taking on Vicente Luque. First round, Kevin looked pretty good. Vicente shot for a takedown. Kevin was stinging him up, throwing some shots while Vicente was holding on to his leg. They get back to striking range. They both exchanged some pretty good hooks. I believe Vicente landed a head kick, I believe. It was a pretty good first round, pretty entertaining. And they definitely, were coming for each other's head. Second round, they get to it. I think Vicente shot a takedown. Kevin jumps on his neck, finishes the finisher, Vicente Luque. Very impressed with this finish. I liked the submission prop. Kevin Holland to get the finish was also very impressive. I know both of them have, I think they said like 40 finishes between the two, but Vicente Luque, he's tough. I didn't believe in the resurgence of him, and this just gave me more confirmation. I think he needs to fight like probably the 30 to 40th ranked type of fighter. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they give him who's a welterweight we were just talking about. Maybe they give him Gustafsson. I wouldn't do that to Vicente Luque, but yeah, that's too much of a jump for Gustafsson. But hey, you never know. He is 34. He is, aging, so they're probably trying to get him as many fights as they can, because 34 to make your debut is a little older. So hey, you never know. But Kevin Holland, sir, thank you for being a part of the Lock of the Week parlay, the very first. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, because we got the next half of the Lock of the Week. But Kevin Holland, very impressed with you, sir. Thank you very much. He called out Kobe Covington too. I do think he wins that fight by finish. I think he can knock out Kobe. I've never been a fan of Kobe, even when he went on his little run beating Tyron Woodley. I've never been a fan of Kobe, and we got finished by Joaquin Buckley last time. Got knocked out by Kamaru. I know in the second fight he did a little better, but lost to Leon. I think Kobe does not win another fight for the rest of his career, and I think if they do book Kevin versus Kobe, it'll probably be his last fight, and I think he gets knocked out. So let's do it. Kevin versus Kobe. The trash talk would be pretty top tier too. Definitely needs to be on the main card. So let's get that booked. Next up, Mario Batista versus punching bag Patchy Mix. Patchy Mix striking, like I told you guys, is not good. He was unable to move his head at all. Was getting pieced up left and right. Could not shoot for a takedown. Could not, do anything he didn't do anything in the grappling department against Mario Batista. Mario made him look like trash. And I've never been big on these Bellator PFL signings. Kayla Harrison is the best Bellator PFL signing that the UFC has ever made. Literally. Well, recently. You gotta respect, Eddie Alvarez. But literally, Kayla Harrison, most recently, the best PFL Bellator signing ever. Patchy Mix, his striking is really green, bro. He does not put together his shots well. Mario Batista definitely looked, if Patchy Mix could be a champion in PFL, Mario Batista would probably he'd probably run laps around the PFL, bro. That's how, or excuse me, Bellator. That's how bad he made Patchy Mix look. Yeah, Mario cooked him. Almost, I thought he might have knocked him out, but Patchy's chin held up pretty well. He was getting stung up by some big right hands, some big overhands. Did have a little bit of success in the third round. I think he landed like a knee and had Mario a little wobbly. Started to push the pace a little bit, but Mario was too elusive for him. Was not able to, sit there and get teed off on. But yeah, Mario Batista looked miles ahead of Patchy Mix, and the decision prop fight goes to decision with the Kevin Holland parlay lock of the week cashes. So again, thank you, gentlemen, for that. I definitely was, biting my nails. I thought Mario Batista was gonna knock him out. I was a little shook for a second, but damn. Yeah, Mario Batista made Patchy Mix look like a complete punching bag for the entire fight. Could not move his head, could not move his feet. Striking was green, was unable to shoot any takedowns. Mario Batista, you did what I believed you could do and showed that the UFC is levels ahead of the PFL, of the Bellator, the PFLator, whatever you want to call it. So thank you, sir. Next fight. Joe Body Bags Pfeiffer? You sure we're going to keep that nickname? Versus Kelvin Gastelum. Knocked Kelvin Gastelum down twice in the first round. But Joe Pfeiffer, he needs to put his striking together a little better. So really a lot of, hooks, a little bit of uppercuts. His jab is okay, but he doesn't utilize it enough. I was sitting there screaming at my TV, picking combinations for him that could have knocked Kelvin out. If Joe could put together a 1-2, a solid 1-2, Kelvin would have been out because he's reading, the hooks. He's moving out the way of the hooks. But if you put something straight down the center, he would have sat Kelvin down. I'm sure of it. If you knocked him down with that hook on the neck, the 1-2 to the nose would have obliterated him. He did say, he was coming off that back surgery. He's been out for over a year or about a year. So I'll cut him a little bit of slack, but he definitely needs to, tune in on the striking because I think the ranked middleweights definitely give him a hard time. I think a Roman Kopylov gives him a tough time. I think Vettori would give him a tough time because Vettori could wrestle a little bit. Vittori's probably a better striker too. He doesn't really have like the knockout power that Joe Pfeiffer has, but he can eat some shots similar to what Kelvin was able to do. And sorry, I just had a brain fart. Vettori will wrestle, unlike Kelvin was unable to. So Kelvin definitely, turned it up in the third round too, starting to put Joe on the back foot, made him look a little uncomfortable. So yeah, get back in the, into the camp, get a little bit more fluidity to your striking, and then, then we could talk about a ranked opponent. But for now, Joe Pyfer at middleweight, maybe they give him, I don't know. I'm trying to think on the fly. Because where do you go from guys? You're going to have to go to the rankings. You know what I'm saying? Michelle Pieta. Maybe we do Michelle Pieta versus Joe Pyfer. I would do that. Yeah. But if you give him like a boost, he could probably beat a boost, but a boost is so much better of a striker. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'll go Michelle Pieta. If he's not ranked, he was ranked previously, and then a ranked opponent for Joe Pyfer. But yeah, definitely needs to dial in on the striking, and then we'll talk about ranked opponents. But good win overall for Joe Pyfer. Next up, the co-main event of the evening. Kayla Harrison taking on Juliana Pena. Got the Kimura. Pretty short, pretty sweet. Definitely thought, Kayla would finish the fight inside the distance, and she did. Second round, first round, she was on top of Juliana, got her tossed her down, was in her guard. Actually got a point taken away. Well, Juliana got a point taken away from throwing some illegal up kicks to the face. She threw like 2 or 3 of them. I really do like the decision there to take the point away immediately rather than, hey, stop doing that, take a timeout, and then not really reward the fighter, the fighter that got hit with the shots. I really like that decision from the referee right there. Immediately take the point because it wasn't just one shot; it was 2 to 3. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure he said something to her after the first one, but after the second and third, took her, called a timeout and took the point away. Really agree with that. Kayla, they didn't get back into the position because he took the point away, but it was only a little bit of time left anyway. Kayla, stayed on the outside, didn't really engage much. Second round, got her down pretty easily, and was controlling her for majority of that round, and then threatened. I think she threatened with like a gilly, and then she transitioned to the Kimura, and Juliana tapped easily. Definitely was not trying to break that shoulder. Uh, yeah, whatever, the shoulder, the clavicle, whatever you want to call it. It's like that spiral fracture. Definitely could have been bad for her, and she was not trying to get that on her body. She's been hurt previously when had to sit out for some time, so I think she made the right decision there. And then we get Amanda Nunes in the cage. She definitely said she's coming back no matter who would have won this fight, but now it makes it a lot more interesting seeing that it's Kayla Harrison with the belt. And I do think Amanda wins. I think Amanda is so much better of a striker, and she took the time away not because she lost. She took the time away because her body was just a little too beaten. So she's coming back refreshed. It's been a year and some change now. Maybe 2 years. I can't really recall the timetable. But a fresh Amanda taking on Kayla, who's still a little green in the striking. I think Amanda could be live to finish her. And I think we're gonna get it on the if this fight comes true, the John Jones Tom Aspinall December MSG double headliner, John Jones, Kayla Harrison, Amanda Nunes. I'll sign up for it. I'll pay for it. I think that's what we're gonna end up getting though. But yeah, very good performance from Kayla Harrison. I knew she was gonna win. I knew she was going to get the finish. I thought it would be by knockout though, or TKO at least. Ground and pound. The elbows did make a short appearance, but ultimately, she got the Kimura. Juliana Pena. She could fight Ketlin Vieira. Make it pretty easy for her. Not easy, but easy matchmaking there. She could fight Ketlin Vieira. Vieira would be next. seeing who wins out of, Kayla and Amanda, because I don't think Vieira and Amanda have fought. So yeah, Vieira versus Pena, book it. Fight night headliner, or it could be, on a main card of a pay-per-view, not the featured fight, but main card opener or something like that. But yeah, Amanda versus Kayla is the fight to book. And to the main event of the evening, the spoiler: Merab Dvalishvili gets the choke on Sean O'Malley. This was very impressive, I gotta say. Merab was able to, eat a lot of the Sean O'Malley strikes. Was able to eat a straight right that I definitely thought he was gonna get sat down from. But the pace was just way too much for Sean. He was defending a lot of the takedowns. You can see he was 5 for 12, so he defended 7 of them. He defended a lot of takedowns, but that last one, he was just, I don't know if he was tired or what, but Merab took him down, kept him there. When Sean would get back to his feet, momentarily slam him down again. I think he slammed him like twice in that exchange. Picked him up at one time, slammed Sean O'Malley. Sean definitely did look a little better in the striking department compared to the first fight. He was definitely more active. Didn't really utilize the teeps as much as I thought he would, and was more so throwing like the jab to the body. But if he would have used that teep to the body a little more, I think he would have had some more success. He opened the fight with a spinning heel kick to the body. But Merab just walks forward through any and everything, bro. He is a marauder for sure. He's a machine, literally. And he's definitely cementing himself as the bantamweight GOAT. But he's got Corey up next. Corey versus Merab. Does Merab do the same thing? If he does the same thing to Corey, then it's over. The conversation is over. He could retire. He is the bantamweight GOAT. But Corey's so tricky, bro. Corey could fight at all 3 levels better than Sean O'Malley. That's what makes the fight so much more interesting. I don't know, man. But Merab to show some finishing ability, that is really what, made this card very, very good. Because I just thought, he was going to pepper him with some shots, let him get back to his feet, slam him back down again. I thought it was just going to be rinse and repeat. But he shot for that neck and he got it. And I was super impressed. I did not think Merab would get a finish. You know what I'm saying? I think the submission prop was probably like plus 750. So very impressed with Merab Dvalishvili getting the finish here. Sean O'Malley, for me, it's either move to 145 or, you're going to need like a 5-fight winning streak to get back to the belt. It's going to look similar to like Max when he lost the belt to Volk. I don't think he's getting a third, fight pretty soon with Merab. Definitely not. He's going to have to fight, Umar. He's going to have to fight Jan again. He's going to have to fight maybe Figgy when he returns. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know what you do with Sean O'Malley. You can't shelf him because he's a star, but that star power is starting to get a little, dusty with 2 losses to Merab. Merab, he's fighting Corey next. If he wins that, you know what I'm saying? You can't really do. I mean, you can do the Jan rematch, but he washed Jan so bad. Jan's gonna need a knockout over somebody. But Merab versus Corey, I don't know. I want to see what the line is going to be for that fight. I think Corey might be like a slight underdog, or he might be a favorite. I don't know. He can fight anywhere that the fight goes, so it's so interesting. But yeah, super impressive finish from Merab Dvalishvili, spoiling the red panty night for me. If we go through the picks, we went 11-1. The one loss being the Sean O'Malley pick. So lost there, win with Kayla, win with Joe, win with Mario to spoil Patchy's debut, win with Kevin Holland, had him in the lock of the week, along with the Mario Patchy fight goes the distance. Win with Joshua Van, the hands looked incredible. Win with Azamat, called the KO as well. Win with Waldo, underdog pick here. Definitely said, the footwork and the boxing was going to get him the win. Win with Andreas, the pressure was too much for Chaos. Wang Tong, I didn't think she was gonna get the knockout. I thought it would go to a decision, and it did. Looked a little, she didn't. It wasn't that impressive. I knew this is what she was capable of doing. So, excuse me. And then Ju Sang Yu called the knockout first round under a minute. Super impressive. Quillian Salkid thought he would get the decision over Ashmoos. Ashmoos is pretty tough, and Quillian showed, he's got pretty good grappling. Like I said, he did. And then Madero showed Mark Troinski, that there's levels. Yeah, very good night for me. 11-1 on the picks. But let's go to my favorite section, your favorite section, the parlays. We hit on two of them. So we hit on the Kayla Azamat Pfeiffer Van -112 play. I know it's not pretty, but hey, a win is a win sometimes, you know what I'm saying? We also hit on Salkid, Yu, and Waldo Acosta money line +192. Van decision Gustafson money line was so close. I think Van finished the fight in a minute and a half or something like that to go. No, I think it was like 60 seconds. Damn, that was so close. Harrison TKO O'Malley money line doesn't come through. Pfeiffer doesn't get the knockout. Gustafson doesn't get the knockout, so don't hit on that last play too. But very good night for me. On the picks, made some money on the parlays, cashed on the lock of the week. Very good bounce back week. The last 2 weeks it was a little rough, but 11-1, I'll take it. Parlays hit, lock of the week hits. We missed the last 2 locks. I'm very happy with this fight card. And if I had to rate the card out of 10, I'm definitely going to give it an 8.5 because we had some pretty good finishes. 2 finishes, in the main and the co-main. The Mario Batista Patchy Mix fight was a one-sided ass whooping. Kevin Holland with the finish. Joshua Van with the finish. Osmont with the finish. Waldo showing some pretty good takedown defense. The Gustafson fight, knew it would look exactly like that. Ju Sang Yu making the most out of his debut, and then Madero's schooling up Troinski. I'll give it an 8.5. We had some really good fights. The Salkid fight was pretty good. The I would say the only fights I'll really give a thumbs down is probably the Joe Pfeiffer Gastelum, and that's really it. Yeah, just the Joe Pfeiffer performance. But I'll cut him some slack. He's been out for a little bit, been injured, so it is what it is. But that is what I got for UFC 316 fight recaps. We got UFC Atlanta next weekend. I'm going to the event. We got Malcolm Wellmaker, my boy, fighting on the card. Super impressed with that, or super happy with that as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm right back to it tomorrow, giving you guys the full card predictions for UFC Atlanta. Buckley versus Usman. One of my favorite fighters of all time. Damn. I'm still debating how I'm going to pick on that fight, but you guys will be hearing from me soon. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one.